Hi everyone, I'm Sunny and welcome to the Well-Read Society. People, I have a problem. Yeah, I've said it, I have a problem, and you might have that same problem if you're really into books, which you probably are if you're watching this video. My problem is that I buy books faster than I can read them. Then I just don't know what to read anymore because I have too many options. So, you know, it's a blessing and a curse because I never run out of things to read, but also I never really know what to pick up next. But recently I came across a video by Jack Edwards on his second channel, Jack in the Books. And I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm just gonna be stealing his idea with credit, of course. We have a selection of 10 books that are on my TBR. Right now they're in no specific order. I'll read the first lines and I'll do a second pile here by order of preference.
Hi, this is Sunny from the future, and as I was editing, I realized that I fully disagree with some of my choices. What I think happened is that as I was reading, I had already forgotten the opening lines of some of the earlier books, which made my ranking kind of inaccurate. So if you're infuriated with me putting a great opening line towards the bottom, don't worry, it will probably be a lot higher. What I'll do is I'll leave you with my initial ranking, but at the end, I'll give you my final ranking because now I've reassessed, reevaluated my choices, and I came up with a very different final result. Thank you for listening to this disclaimer, and let's move on to the video.
Okay, first line is, "We slept in what had once been the gymnasium." Okay, I know The Handmaid's Tale, a great book. I haven't read it yet, but I read the entire first and second chapter for my English literature class. So I know it's a really great and well-written book, but today we're not judging based on our general knowledge of the book, just its first line. And to be frank, "We slept in what had once been the gymnasium" doesn't make me ecstatic. So even though I really want to read it, right now it's gonna be at the bottom of the pile. Next book is Six of Crows by Lei Bardugo. I think I'm on this book for over 3 or 4 years now, and I always say I'm gonna pick it up, but then I don't. First line is, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce names. "Just had two problems, the moon and his mustache." That's a funny and intriguing first line, so right now it's gonna be going on the top of the pile. If you're listing your problems, the things that are concerning you at the moment, and the moon and your mustache are at the top of the list, I'm very intrigued to know what's going on in your life, so right now this one is at the top. Next is Near to the White Heart by Clarice Lispector. I've been meaning to read her books for so long now. I always come across some of her quotes. I've bought 2 books by her. I haven't started 3 actually. I haven't started any of them yet, but I'm gonna be reading the first line to this one. "From the moment of her birth in the Western Ukraine..." Oh no. That was not actually the first line of the book, that was the first line of the introduction to Clarice Lispector's life. Okay, this is the first line. "Her father's typewriter went clack clack, clack clack clack. The clock awoke in dustless tin blend." What's going on? What are all these clack clack clacks? It raises question, the fact that the first line is not about the character of the book, but it's about her father and her father's typewriter, and it's just describing the sound of the typewriter. But it's not as intriguing as the moon and the mustache, so I'll be putting it in the middle. Next is Heaven by Mieko Kawakami. I'm really excited to read this one because I love Mieko Kawakami, like, as a human. I've read some of her interviews. I've read the very interesting conversation she had with Haruki Murakami about his way of writing women, you know, and I just love the way her mind works. And I think this is a book about bullying. I'm not sure, I haven't read any of these books. Let's read the first line. "One day toward the end of April, between classes, I unzipped my pencil case and found a folded triangle of paper between the pencils. I like this first line because it immediately set the tone, you know, that it's taking place in an academic setting. There's a little touch of mystery or suspense right from the first line because you want to know who put that piece of paper there in her pencil case. What does it say? I guess I'll be putting it right under Six of Crows. Mustache and the Moon right now are still unbeatable to me. Next is Recitatif by Toni Morrison. The introduction is by Zadie Smith, which I think is amazing because these are both amazing authors and I love the cover. Like, are you kidding me? But today we're not judging books by their covers, we're judging them by their first lines. So let's just read the first line. Okay, that's the introduction. Still the introduction. Oh, I think the book is actually really short. Okay. My mother danced all night and Roberta was sick. I like the contrast, like the clear-cut opposition between the narrator's mom, who's dancing, while the other character, Roberta's mother, is sick. I wonder why that information is important, but it doesn't put me straight into the book. I guess I'll be putting it between Near to the Wild Heart and Heaven. So we're halfway through. We've done 5 books to go. I think that now is the time for a little tea break. Okay, let's go. So next book is Bliss Montage by Ling. She's the author of Severance. It's a collection of short stories and I'll be reading the first line. It's not the first line of like an entire novel, it's just the first line of one story. So the first line of the short story called Tomorrow. After the final throes of the relationship, the aimless arguments about the future, the listless waiting for his circular non-decision making, the studying of feminist tracts to recondition herself, she did not come away with nothing. It was a very long opening line, but you already get a pretty clear sense of where like the main character is in her life. So you understand she just got out of a relationship with a very indecisive person and she's trying to understand and figure things out by asking herself questions and reading feminist tracts, but she still does not come away from all of this with an answer. So I think that's very interesting. I think I'll put it right there. Next we have The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. I'm very sorry for butchering some more last names. I'm very bad at that. But yeah, it's a pretty famous book. I've heard about it a lot. I hear it's quite depressing, but it's okay. That's exactly my type of literature, depressing, even though I'm trying to change that up a little bit. But yeah, let's read the first line. The idea of eternal return is a mysterious one, and Nietzsche has often perplexed other philosophers with it. To think that everything recurs as we once experienced it, and that the recurrence itself recurs ad infinitum. What does this mad myth signify? Wow, those Cheryl words on the pages. Okay, so I think this is a very well written first line, but it also feels like this is the type of book that would, first of all, send me into existential crisis, and also it seems like the type of book I would love, but that I would need a lot of focus for, that I would need to be in the right mind space to read when I have a lot of time and I can take some time to think about it. This is definitely not the type of book you just read for entertainment or to pass time. It kind of seems like the type of book you read because you want to get something out of it. If that's the goal of this book, it does it very well. But right now, I'm in uni, it's final season. I'm tired of thinking, of asking myself questions. So this sounds exactly like the type of book I would love, but just pick it up when I'm in a very specific mindset for it, like probably in the summer when I have a lot of time for reading and contemplating life. So even though I think it's a very good first line, I think I'll put it probably on the bottom. I'm so sorry, Milan Kundera. You are obviously a great writer, but right now I cannot ask myself questions about eternal return and Nietzsche's philosophy. Next book is If Beale Streets Could Talk by James Baldwin. I haven't read this yet. I haven't seen the movie either, but I love James Baldwin as a writer. He's such a phenomenal writer. Giovanni's Room, another novel of his, is one of my favorite books of all time. So I have high hopes for this. First of all, I love the title of the first chapter, which is Troubled About My Soul. That's sad, but beautiful. Okay, the first line is just, I look at myself in the mirror. That's very short, straight to the point. You know right from the beginning, from reading the first line, that the narrator or the main character is contemplating himself, or he's probably either having an identity crisis or questioning things about his life or about himself. So it doesn't say much, but it says a lot. And I think that's something we can say about James Baldwin in general. Like, he's a man of few words, but in these words he packs so many things. So even though that's a very simple, short, not very extravagant first line, it still makes me very intrigued to read it and continue finding out things about this book. So I think I'll put it right below Heaven and right above Bliss Montage. Okay, so next we have Slaughterhouse 5 by Vonnegut. I'm really glad that I found a second-hand copy of the old edition, and I heard it was kind of a bizarre book. I love bizarre, so now is the time to discover his writing style. Let's just see what the first line is. All this happened, more or less. Just like James Baldwin's book, it's very few words, but it also says a lot. Right away, like, the first line of the book immediately makes you doubt the reliability of the narrator. What do you mean? Are you not sure about what you're saying in this book? Are you not sure about what really happened? And like, are you reliable? Are you not? I think I'll put it right below the James Baldwin. The last book is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. So Kazuo Ishiguro is a very successful and very critically acclaimed writer. The man literally has a Nobel Prize, so it's very preposterous of me to come in here today on this little booktube channel and decide whether or not I think Kazuo Ishiguro is good enough for me. But it's me, it's my life, it's my TBR, it's like my reading experience, so I don't care that you have a Nobel Prize, sir. Today I'm gonna be deciding if your first line is phenomenal enough. My name is Kathy H. Okay, the narrator just states her name, but also she says Kathy H, so we don't really get a last name, just an initial. So it's intriguing, but also it doesn't tell me a lot, and it doesn't make me like, oh, so excited I have to keep reading this right now. I think it might be a bit towards the bottom. I think I'll put it right above the Handmaid's Tale. So I think we've achieved a pile of the books ranked by my preference on their opening line.
So as promised, here is the updated ranking of the opening lines.
Judgment on the quality of the book, and I'm not saying that Clarice Lispector is a worse writer than Lei Bardugo. It's literally just based on the first lines and whether or not they make me excited to keep reading. Let me know in the comments. I want to ask you two things. From the lines that I've read in this video, which one was your favorite? And in general, what's your favorite first line you've ever read in a book, if you have any? One of mine is the first line in The Secret History, and I'm dying to know yours, so let me know in the comments. So yeah, it was very fun and chill to do. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on the channel in 2 weeks with Sumaya posting a video. And until then, let's keep in touch on Instagram. We're a bit more active. It's at The Well-Read Society. See you soon. Bye-bye.